My Govanen. Welcome back to the Craft Mansion. I'm David, and in this week's video I'll be making the Lothlorien Elven brooch from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now this is quite an easy project because it's small and it's made of mainly two materials, which are wire and glue. If you would like to see more props from the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and ring the notification bell down below. Now I'll go get the supplies so we can start. The first thing I did was to go into my bathroom. No, not to have a shit. I actually started by printing 3 sizes of the brooch to check which one looked best on me. Originally, I was going to go with the middle-sized one, but finally landed on the large one, which is about 8.5 centimeters long. The main structures of this prop are basically the leaf, and the wires that go around it. So before I started, I clearly marked the wires, even the one that goes behind the leaf, to appear on the other side. Now the plan is to use this wire to make the skeleton of the brooch. So we need to cut this and shape it according to this. It was a bit difficult to get all the nooks and crannies of the leaf, but eventually I managed to get the right shape. Then I bent the wire upwards to form the main vein of the leaf. So now the structure of the leaf is finished. Of course there are still the wires that go around the leaf and then the back and the top, but that's for later. But even though this is one whole thing, I still need to connect this end and then this end. So I'll be using a soldering iron, or I don't know what you call it, the soft metal. And then this. Is it the soldering iron? I'll check. I should have checked this before. Soldering, yeah, it's a soldering iron. Okay, so I've plugged that in. Now switch it on and wait for it to get hot. I've never been that good with a soldering iron, so let's hope for the best. This is hot. I think the problem is that this wire is too thick to be warm enough for the soldering wire to actually melt. So I think I'll end up using super glue. This isn't working. Okay, so plan B. I applied a generous amount of super glue and left it to dry. I think the super part of super glue isn't that super anymore, because it's been about an hour. I've actually gone and had a wash, and this thing is still not dry yet, so I have to wait a bit longer. To make this brooch actually a brooch, functional, I added a pin to the back of the vein using super glue. So I've added some more glue to the sides just to strengthen the bond, and I've let it set. And now in the meantime I need to prepare the next things, which are like a very shallow, this is actually a cap, but I'm going to use like a bowl, and some white glue. So, slight hiccup, the super glue actually didn't stick that well, so I had to sand the metal a bit, and then I applied more super glue, and then eventually I rounded the whole metal part that needed to be bonded with super glue. So like, if the super glue hardened, then the metal would be enclosed in super glue, because just sticking the metal with some super glue in between didn't work. So I need a box of old styrofoam as well, just so I can stick this in and let it dry. Essentially this just needs to be fully immersed in the glue. Now this is the hard part, but if it succeeds, it's the best part. Nope, we got only one leaf. Come on. Oh, yes. I'm just gonna put it over here to dry, like this. So if it drips on the styrofoam. I'll just leave this here just in case this pops, because then I have to re-immerse it. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully. And then I can just pour this back inside the bottle. Don't worry if the glue wrinkles. That's normal, it will eventually reflatten once you add more layers. This is easily the most satisfying part of this video. Look at it, how easily it peels off. Once the initial foundation of glue had dried, I added another coat. Again, don't worry if the glue wrinkles. I had 3 layers of glue in total, and then I sprayed the underside with gold. I sprayed over the gold with silver so that the gold could only be seen from the front. To make the glue stronger, I used the nail polish. Now this doesn't mean that it will be rock hard, it will still be a bit soft, but it's just stronger. And this is where my troubles began. So I sprayed gold to try and make the green nail polish lighter, since I didn't have that right color for a leaf. Didn't work. So I tried a different method. I used normal paint yellow and then green nail polish over that. Still too dark. So none of this is working. So I'm going to resort to the only option I know, which is just some food coloring with white glue. This food coloring, it's poisonous. It expired in 2006. April 2006. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix this thoroughly. Don't use paint with white glue, because if you mix paint with white glue, it's just going to form blobs of the color with the glue. If you use food coloring, it actually mixes well, and you get a really clear color. I painted about 3 coats of yellow, and then painted 3 coats of the green. This finally gave me the right color, although I wish the leaf was more transparent. For the final touch, I gave the bottom a coat of clear nail polish, and the top 2 coats. This makes the leaf shinier, harder, and it seals all the colors. It seems really dark on camera, but in reality the green is lighter. I started by covering the main vein and the sides with silver. The smaller lines were too thin for the marker. Luckily, it's a liquid-filled marker, so I just pressed the nib a few times and plenty of ink came out. Then, using a toothpick, I drew the veins onto the leaf with the ink. Then I gave the leaf another coat of clear nail polish. All that was left was the wiring around the leaf. There's a loop at the top which goes to the left, then over the left lobe, behind the main one, and then I glued it to the end of the leaf. There are 2 more wires that go through the loop at the top. The right wire is in front of the left wire. I covered the glue with silver, and then sealed it with clear nail polish. And so, the Lothlorien brooch was finished. My initial plan was to have this see-through. That's where the white glue and green food coloring would have been really great. But I ended up using silver paint at the back and nail polish, so in the end I ended up with this result. I'm still happy with it, especially with how well the silver worked, the silver marker. Because if I would have used silver paint, it would have taken about 3 to 4 coats. And 3 to 4 coats in this much detail, it's quite impossible. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give this video a thumbs up and comment down below with other ideas you think I should try. Now if you would like to see more tutorials, subscribe right here and check out some more of my videos. And until next time, this is the Lothlorien Elven brooch. You can just pin it to my clothes. I'm David, and this is the Craft Mansion.